Conscious means that you're conscious of what's going on in this world. You're fully aware and awake to what's going on in this world. That's what conscious rap means. So if you got conscious rap, that means you got unconscious rap. That means you got motherfuckers that's unconscious rapping. That means they sleeping. They still under the spell of Leviathan. They still under the spell of King.
Call me brother man, I'm not the rubber man. Though I keep my Nazis in affairs wrapped with some rubber bands. Burning out the Ku Klux Klan and with the Grand Dairy Queen misters. Just butts of guns I'm giving. Trying to make more sovereign citizens. These minions help kill your prophet, stole your treasury millions. You heard it from your brother man, not a smother sellout. Success links and K2 Kush days keep me red out. I got the knowledge to make these silly hoes question the pimping directors of music videos. Gay laws and persons with strap-on boots with heels. Too much graphic art faces, boobs are not real. Since MCM and Troop, they use Timberland boots to get us all caught up in fashion, not the simple men roots. Got our people on dogmatic, not metaphysic. Exoteric, not esoteric is how you missed it. So out of it, you couldn't feel the natural mystic blowing through the air like it didn't give a shit. I hear the dirty Moors dissing, cause I said profanities. A lot of these grand sheets need to take off the panties. Pull the thong out your crack vest, wear him sash, ass nigga. Return to where the prophet found you, Negro, what's that nigga?
It's time to choose a side. You either positive or you negative. You either evil or you good. You understand what I'm saying? Choose a side, nigga. I know what side I'm on.
I throw a Molotov at the priest that works for the beast. All they want is our people to rest in peace. No attention of allowing more stress to ease. Cracker won't go home to spread himself the disease. Genocidal epidemic kill us in high proportions. Instead of mummified, we stay boxed in coffins. Mayors attend funerals for PR purposes. Where's the police escort? He replied with nervousness. He said, I don't have those numbers or connections to have Metro Police lead your friend's funeral procession. That's coming from Mr. Mayor, black community player, no question in the hoods, dropping out boxes of weapons. Then blame black on black crime or natural causes. Plus those doctors aren't out on point but off a bit. Natural mystics prove they're not holistic. Hypocrite oaths make your children autistic.
I'm at the point now where I'm saying I'm tired of mixing the medicine with the food. I'm tired of playing that game. Now I'm shoving straight medicine down your fucking throat, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Straight doses of medicine and then shove down your throat. I don't give a fuck if it turns you off or not. Because if it do turn you off, then you're a stupid, ignorant motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Don't judge like a cover of your favorite book. Visit you in your dreams, hand with the hook. Paralysis overtook. So shook, stop, look, listen with precision. MC on a mission, vision. Past senses and endless. Cypher with active Moors, beat you with facts senseless. Have your mind defenseless when the truth enters. Eyes glow. Reminds me of Omar Bay, Algonquin embers. Tap your pioneer out what some man remembers. All the lies told to your mind dismembered. Circle broken into quadrants, you the seven and the center compass G between the square. Baphomet of Templars, warlock. Call on my witch mothers to maim them. The same wise spirits burned at stakes in Salem. Torture with vagina peers survive, bobbing for apples. Contort thumb slide. Wrists out tight shackles.
I always got something deep to say. Every time around. I always got something deep to say. Every time around. I always got something deep to say. Every time around. I always got something deep to say. Every time around.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster? Gangster? Gangster?
Black power, my ass, y'all just playing the ass posing, frontin', no bustin', no dirty cock gun button. At least Moore's right, rich, trying to do something. Pen as my weapon, feathers up and turbans, no bluffing. Don't get it twisted, so or more get handcuffing. Judges dismiss cases, prosecutors cussing, telling maggots accuse themselves or get sued. Civil rights leaders got conscious blacks marching on news, stopping traffic, or people that didn't kill their sons and daughters. In Canaanland, we call y'all bright and out of order. Nationality has me awake like a sleep disorder. While most wear blinders, my peripherals broader. For the record, I sweat nervous court reporters. In Admiralty, maritime shores, Moors walk on water. Ancients return with other kills, no sight blurred. While they stay killing their minds and saying they learn.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster.
Your forefathers had names before they became slaves. Seems like today it's only nicknames and pain. You should be learning so pain could stop from these vermin. German Nazi Inquisition is enslaving with sermons. Declared independence, still giving Moors reverence. Talking trees with Muslims that overall us entrance into the entrance masses. Keep them docile and passive. Killing them, corralling, backpacking like hostile fascists. Take oaths to break them, unless it's from the Lord. They give profits, we take them and neglect ancestors. Playing Mr. Tuffy, smoking a Dutch from the same master, bully stealing your money for lunch. Wanna drink from their bowl, cause they spike their punch. With Clorox, I'm not guessing, but I have a hunch. I can say I stand up to mercenary punks, while you face proposing with Glocks cocked and shotguns pumped.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster.
If you got guns and use them on targets moving. Try KKK badge carriers in your hood cruising. I'm not promoting violence, it's a point I'm proving. Moore's methods do work, but coons disapproving. Khalid calling you out, but you're attacking the sheep and want to show me how good you are with your hands and feet. Never challenge a cop when they arresting your brother, but we'll wear hoods and hold skittles one after another. Acting with lethal weapons, you Mel Gibsons and gloves. Shot in the back, I'm watching you suffer. Black standing on corners in seconds like smothered. She forgave him for a son's death, but listen to mother. Listen to common exercise in his 5 sentences. To end racism, stop looking through racial lenses. Look at constitutional, not civil defenses. Stop marching. The only thing that pickets is fences.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster. Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster. I've never heard of it.
To love me up. I can only be myself.
Nah, don't be like me. No, don't be like me. Was he like, don't be like me? Whoa, don't be like me. Much. What my boy can be like me? Hold up, what? Don't be like me. Don't be like we. Must be yourself, man. Just be like me. Fly like a monarch and be my king. Stepping like me, weapon I be. The day I stand above my knees. Still put the prophet in front. Look what you I do. Don't be like she, can't be like her. And the hand, can't be like queen. Could have been like team, or staying like dreams. But it always the end, cause it ain't what's real. Don't be like ill. Stop bugging on, being like them crayons, something that you spray on. God, step in light speed, hit the ground like streets, do a halt, or was it even moving? I'ma check. Don't be like me, could have been like Lee. Watch out. Bet in a couple years, it gonna be like 3, gonna be like speed. Nah, don't be like me, no. Don't be like me. Was he like, don't be like me, whoa. Don't be like me, much. What my boy can be like me? Hold up, what? Don't be like me. Don't be like we. Must be yourself, man.
To be like me, fly like a monarch and be my G.
I can only be myself.
Just want a little. I smoke, yeah. Nigga, I burn the marijuana and they won't book me for that. See me on the streets, here they come, here they at. Stroll around the corner, hands in the hood with a gas. They won't book me for that. Won't bag me for that, Undercovers come up to me, ask me for crack. Not protect and to serve, that's provoking the act. They won't book me for that, they won't bag me for that. But the man in ties, they just look at me back. I burn the marijuana and they won't book me for that. Is it the rich that is mean, or the ways that you stack? Or the pigmentation of his skin, he's black. Like they won't book me for that, they won't bag me for that. Ain't even speeding, I'm doing my limit. Can't be taxed, it's illegal. System structured, so you can't be rich. Got us breathing mustard. My brain's blue from the smoke. Ponics, human product. Illumines force light, they call simulate. The devil used man to try to make life, cause God wouldn't tell him, condemn him, fell him. God gave us the seed to reproduce, the Mother Earth is full. So in the mean, I burn the marijuana and they won't book me for that. See me on the streets, here they come, here they at. Stroll around the corner, hands in the hood with the gats. They won't book me for that. Where the good people at? Motherfuckers come up to me, ask me for crack. Protect them to serve, that's provoking the act. They won't book me for that, they won't back me for that. But a man in ties, they just look at me back, cause they think I'm black. Nah, man. Bruh. Something like that.
Marijuana, yo, it calm me. I don't know why they always on me. Burn it in a king for me. If you stop us, we put it out calmly. Officer, where's your authority? Doing be the national on her land or his seats. Oh, I love the sense in me. Burn it, I tell, no grabber in my reach. We check out the stems and seeds. Rolling while I'm rolling, that's a regular tendency. Enough man beat the NC. But me some bubble roots or some ganja tea. I take 2 shots for my enemies. Envious bad mind with the jealousy. But I know nothing, we are the remedy. Chef in Zanga pit, we mastered the recipe. Watch this roll, yeah, it's a masterpiece. I don't care who sees, I burn my herb in the streets. The cushion peng is always on me. Few times the pussy them try swami. Intelligent tone, I tell them calmly, I'm MIA, Mauritius Imperial Army. Mind what you say, might rub me wrongly, matter in me eye. I bury and beef, me not even brush me teeth. Me want me some beef, me not get a split with bun, me get drunk.
Marijuana and they won't book me for that. See me on the streets, here they come, here they at. Stroll around the corner, hands in the hood with a gas. They won't book me for that. Won't bag me for that. Undercovers come up to me, ask me for cracks. Not protect and to serve, that's provoking the act. They won't book me for that, they won't bag me for that. But the man in ties, they just look at me back. I burn the marijuana and they won't book me for that. Is it the rich that is mean, or the ways that you stack? Or the pigmentation of his skin, he's black. Like they won't book me for that, won't bag me for that.
Islam Moors. Now, you know what's going on, but we'll take it. We don't know what's going on, but we'll take it. So World Masters Championships, July 20th, August 1st, 2020. 2020. Not something coming up tomorrow. 2020. And one of the Moors, matter of fact, newly awakened Moor, right? Because in our, how it goes, right? The Moors already, you gotta do the 2 apples, right? So Moor puts in his 2 apples or whatever, and it's registering, but it's not really registering. So mother's walking. Mother's just walking. You know what I mean? Going wherever. She bumps into this stuff. Of course, she knows a Moor. So snap the picture, send it to the Moor. Now keep in mind, we haven't really checked everywhere. But where this is back in the day we would call bush. Nobody goes up there. And nothing going on up in that area of this jurisdiction. It was built up now or whatever. So it's out there that this thing is. I don't know. I didn't see any. Been looking. I haven't seen any of those around the vicinity where I'm at. Right? Let me see some of the Moors on the weekend. We'll see if they see it anywhere else around here. But, just, I don't know. Your brother Omar had a good build earlier about it because, it's just weird. Just weird. And then if you really check what's going on, like, the fez is the only one that's sitting. Everything else is floating. All the other headwears are floating. They're on the CN Tower. Just go look up CN Tower. They don't have anything that you're hanging hats on like that. There's nothing sticking out. They're gonna hang a hat on like that. All those hats are floating. The only one that's stable, the only one that has at least a hold is the fez. I don't know. It's just weird. You don't even know what to say. But we'll take it though. We'll definitely take it. For sure, we'll take it. So this is what's going on out here. Again, we don't know what's going on. And then now she's on it now. Now she's on it now. Now you get what the Moor's been saying for however long since he got on, that he's trying to relay the message because he start at home or whatever, right? And then, just throw it out there too. So she has her business where she would go to parties and be, being she chose Wonder Woman. Now, we already know that's Amazon and all that stuff. We already know that that's over here stuff. So she's already in. Like everybody else there, Cherokee, this tribe, that tribe. They recognize that, which means that they're in. All right. So now, if this is land of the native, indigenous, whoever else is, where's their stuff on there? Oh yeah, that's the Fez. Because you could go look up Squamish Nation, and you'll see their totem wearing the Fez near the British Columbia Corporation. The welcoming totem. So, you know, and then some of the some of the points what Brother Omar was bringing up, like, okay, well, if you're really repping it like that, then tell us what you mean by this. Say something. Yeah, just do that and say nothing, and you know, or he was bringing up the if they're doing this, if they're gonna say, okay, we're gonna put the Fez or whatever on this, they should have called us to see if we approve of them doing this or whatever. If they know so much as to put that on there. But then, you know, then we were going to the thing, well, you know, is it real the Fez? Because the ball's missing. And, you know, if the ball's missing, then we already know that the air holes are missing. So it might not even be the Fez of the Moors or whatever, right? It might be a fake Fez, some costume BS. That has nothing to do with us because we don't even wear anything that looks like that. Like, yeah, true. Good point. Good point. Good point. But yeah, just so you know, take it how you want it. But we'll just leave it right there. We'll leave it at that. Islam to again to the Moors that study and just, you know, want to help the people. Court says using chalk on tires for parking enforcement violates Constitution. And this is April 23rd, 2019. So this is fresh, hot off the press. The European telling the truth, just like Noble Drew Ali said. Right? Now, he's performing the unconstitutional act. Physically marking a tire without a warrant is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. And don't worry, Canaanland Moors, don't worry. Article 11, Articles of Confederation, Canada's part of U.S. and all of that stuff. So forget Constitution Act of Canada and all that. American Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and all treaties attached to that. If you want to say, why are you only talking about over there? We're not talking about over there. Over there where? Canada's in Morocco. Just like U.S. is in Morocco. Playing you. All your own stuff. The Fezes on the CN Tower. But then they have the Shriners Parade here, but everybody has the Canadian flag and the U.S. banner. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Two different, and over there and over here. Canada's a state. Its own state, its own sovereign state of U.S., just like Texas and all the other jurisdictions. So supreme law of the land is the Constitution. You ever realize when they say Constitution out here, they never say Constitution Act when they refer to the Constitution. They always talk about Charter of Rights, or they say the Constitution, and then have you talk about it's an act that they're talking about. They're not talking about act. They know about Article 11. And we're saying that to say, for all you people out there who are here that got tickets because they marked the chalk on the stuff, and then you still have the chalk on the tire, that's unconstitutional. Chalking is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Chalking. So just remember, that Noble Drew Ali told Moors, enforce the Constitution. The national Constitution. That's not divine Constitution and bylaws. That's not the national Constitution. Just like UNIA Constitution is not a national Constitution. It's not talking about you have a Constitution. Your organization is a government. Are you dumb? It's an organization of government. Religious on top of that. So just remember that there being, because the reason we brought this up too is because out here they do this in parking lots. Chalk people. Violating, and they're damaging your property. So make sure you realize that Noble Drew Ali told the people. Can't say they weren't told. They're black leaders running them into hell because they don't want to enforce constitutions. They want acts. No, the black guy said that the act of whatever is what do you say? Forget what the priest said. What do you say? Updated report. How do black people spend their money? Updated report. It's not your salary that makes you rich. It's your spending habits. April 16th. Remember, this is updated. This is updated. I predict that even after reading this article, there are a significant number of black people who will not change their habits and work toward changing their situation. Real simple. Significant number. Because remember, Drew Ali said, only a handful saved. So they will not change their habits. Right? And then we'll take out habits and we'll put status. Even though they're going to have posters at the bus that they're standing right in front of a fez or whatever like that, they don't want to know anything about Mars. But they want to know about KDs and Kyrie Irving next shoot. Over time, when things go unchallenged, they seem normal. Over time, if you keep being a dumbass, then incompetence is just normal to you. You wouldn't even have the faintest thought of liberation if you're incompetent. Have the concept that you are a nation. After centuries of slavery, Black people must realize that they need to work toward building generational wealth and learn to invest their money and establish trust funds for their wealth that can be passed down to future generations. So this is not about your ass. Nothing to do with you. The reason why we suffer as a people is because we never pass down what we're supposed to pass down. We go give it to the church. We go give it to some philanthropy, whatever BS. We go give it to something instead of giving it to our damn family who we know is suffering right here. You're going to take the house that these people could, with 50 acres in the back, you're going to give that to the church. But this is why, you know, they had the updated stuff. The updated, the power of black dollars, the power of black script. This is the power that they throw away. And then they talk about they want reparations. The hell are you getting reparations for? %85 of beauty stuff, 85% of beauty spending is by our people. This is 2019. And what are they doing with all that stuff there? Not being themselves. That's why they get all that. Getting all that just to not be themselves. Just to be some straight hair, paler people. And they're melanin dominant. %21% though spent on feminine hygiene. 85% in hair and beauty and all that stuff. Make sure they look pretty, all the external BS. But the internal things, feminine hygiene, 21% of all the spending. Like, this is part of our issue. We don't even understand the concept of nationhood. That as a nation, if we said, okay, forget it, everybody go natural, no makeup. We have 54 million to put to education for our children. Because it's not about your dumb ass. It's about the ones that are following you. I was talking with my Primerica sister. Tell me about all these Europeans, who have life insurance. They have life insurance, and then that's just so that whoever's coming behind them gets a million head start. Just from a life insurance plan, death insurance plan. And then, like I said, our people, everything we got, we're gonna give it to some colonizing corpse. Under the guise of consumer. Not consumer, you idiot. Because nobody else is doing this BS. Nobody else. Right? Chow Yun Fat plans to give his entire fortune to charity. Lives off of $102 a month. This is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon guy. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon guy. The hardest thing in life is not about how much money you earn, but how to keep a peaceful mindset and live the rest of your life in a simple and carefree manner. This is the legend telling you. My dream is to be a happy and normal person. Nokia phone for 17 years. I don't wear clothes for other people. As long as I think it's comfortable, you play Hidden Dragon, Hidden Tiger all you want. Gave up on the BS. Gave up. Said, forget this. All this is BS. 5.6 billion. And trust me, he's going to do his own. Yeah, he didn't play some Jeffrey Yun Fat and all that BS. He didn't abandon his birthright. He honored his foremothers and forefathers. Look how he got all the stuff, give the stuff to charity. He didn't say Jackie Yun Fat. He didn't say Donnie. Kept his stuff. All of his stuff. No IRS, none of that. Soon as Negroes get $1 million, IRS. Why? Because when they get their stuff, they're going to do some BS. Gave the stuff to charity. Said forget about it. $20 a month for a policy. And of course, yeah, you know what I mean, trust over any of the whatever. But you know, reserve your rights. Go get a little stuff so that your children could get $1 million if something happens. And then it sits in trust until they reach the age of majority. And this is what everybody else is doing. But then again, you know, Negroes, they want to do their own thing. They don't want to stick to the order of how stuff's supposed to go. They want to do their own thing. They think they got this figured out. They don't even have a status, but they got something figured out. Now, we told you people are playing with you. Been playing with you. We are all Moors. There's no debating. Are we, aren't we, and all that stuff. There's no debating. We're Moors. There's a theme. There's a theme that I notice in the jurisdiction that claims, you know thyself, and they're everything except Moors, and they have the blood type of the ancient whatever. I noticed that a lot of the people that they rep that appear to be, you know, somebody today, there's some sellout niggers that been sold out our people. Been sold out. Now, just want to crusade, right? etimonline.com. Crusade, military expedition under the banner of the cross, 1706. A respelling or replacement of croisade, 1570s, from Middle French, croisade, Spanish, cruzada, both from medieval Latin cruciata, past participle cruciere, to mark with a cross, from Latin crux, cross, see crux. Modern English form, comparatively late, and even the earlier is post-Middle English, French, Middle English, especially in reference to the medieval expeditions undertaken by European Christians for recovery of the Holy Land from Muslims. Generally, they are counted as 7 between 1095 and 1271, but some smaller efforts are omitted, and the word sometimes is extended to other religiously motivated expeditions. World Literacy Crusade. They even got the sword on there with all the stuff showing you that they're not really on your side. Not really working with you like that. Remember again, King Alfred Plan, all these so-called black organizations whose job is to keep you deaf, dumb, and blind to the facts. Because as soon as you see crusade, stuff should be going on, bells should be ringing. And keep in mind, especially in reference to the medieval expeditions undertaken by European Christians for recovery of the Holy Lands from Muslims. For recovery. How does Christians have something to do with Muslim Holy Lands?
Hello, my name is Riza Islam, and I'm the International Ambassador of the World Literacy Crusade. I'm 22 years old now, and I started here when I was 9 in 1999 as a student. And of course, you know, where I grew up, I didn't really like school too much. I was kicking and screaming, I don't do this bull crap, you know. I mean, I would say all kinds of things. And one day they asked for my help, and they said, would you like to tutor someone? And I said, you know, okay, that's, you know, whatever, I'll take a whack at it. And I tutored this young girl who was about 5. And after I finished helping her, she looked at me and said, wow, thank you. You really helped me. And I had never felt that before. I said, man, wow, I feel really good, you know? So ever since then, the rest is history. I just continued to go up and up and up until I became the ambassador. And now I travel all over the world. I speak to religious leaders. I speak to Congress, to presidents. I met with Obama in 2008. You know, this is what I do. As far as the gang members go, we've seen children as young as 7 or 8 who have been affiliated in gangs. Their entire families were just immersed in this lifestyle, and they had no way of breaking out of it. So when they came here, you know, they had seen shootings, they had seen fights, they had been in robberies, seen robberies. And when they came here, we specifically asked them, what is it that you want to do? And they said, well, I want to live. I want to survive. I want to have a job in my own place. We said, okay, so how can you do that? And once we asked them that question, not told them what to do, but asked them what they want, because no one ever asks you what you want, you know. And we asked them, and they said, well, we want to live, you know. So we gave them the tools, we gave them the communication course, we gave them the purpose for learning, which will help them to establish a reason why they want to learn. Most people don't know why they want to learn. They just learn because our parents told us to learn, and they are succeeding. They have their own place, they have their own car. I mean, they literally went from being at effect to the system to being at cause over it. And they said it was because of this program that they were able to make that happen. We have gone from one location in 1992 to now over 36 across the United States, Africa, and India. And what we do is we eliminate drug addiction, poverty, hopelessness, criminality, and we just bring justice to people and give them solutions to their problems in life without punishing or pushing them, but empowering them so that they can change their life for the better.
Don't bother calling them because they're defunct already. Because fraud has no statute of limitations. 0.
Okay, when you hear black, no one is black, but the term black is the general term that we as black people use to discuss all of us as one people. But black is a color-coded term. It is a legal term which is put in the United States documents, all of the law books, which references a dead individual. It references property. It references a system that can put you inside of a law where if you get pulled over by the police, where you're going through court systems and all these legal issues, you can be put into a modern form of slavery. Okay, there's a high science dealing with the term black, but the original term is Moor, Moorish, or even prior is Asiatique.
So all these people know what's up. Don't let them fool you with all the other BS that they talk about. And you to thinking that they don't know. And they're about what it is that they're talking about. They're not about what they're talking about. They already know what's up. Why would these people embrace Scientology? Because they already know that it's more science. Man realizing that God is within. That's Scientology. L. Ron Hubbard was the prophet, and he was telling the Europeans that Allah is within you. And, you know, everything gets out of hand once you have somebody who used to write science fiction novels, all of a sudden is some spiritual guru, whatever. But doing all that just so that they don't have to chase the profit. Even when they know this, that it's not about black. Black is a legal term that they use against our people to put us under the laws that make them, the colonizers, the enemy, the European, the white man, whatever, be able to do whatever to us. That's what black does. NOI knows this because he's NOI. So all of them know this. Now they're going to play their little BS, but we're telling you, go to Dr. Aleem Elbey's page. Go to Dr. Aleem Elbey's page. And in here you have the first annual convention picture. And then you have people in the back that's blurry. And there's a guy right back there where the flags are. Because the flag bearers stay where the flags are. Now, flag bearer, give thanks to Brother Aleem for giving us the close-ups. Now, I haven't seen anybody ever look like Elijah Muhammad. Like, he is distinct. Just like the ogre on Philadelphia, on the Sixers, he's distinct. Y'all can mix him up with anybody out here. Don't let them tell you they had no connection to this. The reason why they went to Scientology is so that they don't have to say more science. But if they say more science, that's endgame. Because then people start realizing that everything that they've been taught was supposed to be about birthrights. Not that they're joining to some whatever. Now, it is not even us. Other people already did their background on these people to show how much of a fraud these people are. And then they're coming around us, talking about liberate us. Scam rehab and literacy crusade. So these people been on. Remember when we put it out there when you get through to some of these Moors or whatever, they're talking crazy about whatever, completely out of harmony with where you are in your mindset. Remember that these people know better. These people know better and chose not to do better for their people, which is why all these people are warped right now and they're spending all their finance on damn hair products. And we as a people have nothing to show. Ben had nothing to show, unless it's some sneakers or some type of like clothes, whatever. Like the grand scheme things that we should be able to show as a people. If we're going to spend 500 gazillion on hair, we even get to what we're spending on liquor yet and church yet and all the other stuff that are completely against our existence. Remember the crusade? The crusade is to keep the people away from Moors. Please, more. I'll call you back. Yeah, I'll call you back. Yeah. All right. Now again, when people pop up telling you whatever, make sure if you go to Atlanta and you think that girl's sexy, you better ask for baby pictures. Just to be sure. That's crazy there. Like it's Sodom and Gomorrah there. I think where you're at is crazy. There's crazy. When these people pop up, start saying that they're the whoever, make sure you check their baby pictures. Make sure you check these people. Do not take it like they're in your best interest because they wear RBG and they got fezzes on and turbans and they're talking about something liberating. Because when you go check the baby pictures, you realize that she wasn't always a woman. And that should mess you up when you find out. That should mess you up. Good too. And now remember, they're identifying them as Scientologists. They're talking about they got name Islam or whatever like that, but they're on a world literacy crusade, which crusades are against Islam, but they're calling themselves Islam.
And we know who was the head of the Crusades too.
Right.
We already know who what the Crusades was about. You know what I mean? Even got the sword in the logo.
Got the sword in there.
True Anglo-Saxon right there.
Right. This is what they're about. The Inquisition still against the Moors. Inquisition against the Moors. But don't forget. Don't forget.
no one is black, but the term black is the general term that we as black people use to discuss all of us as one people. But black is a color-coded term. It is a legal term which is put in the United States documents, all of the law books, which references a dead individual. It references property. It references a system that can put you inside of a law where if you get pulled over by the police, where you're going through court systems and all these legal issues, you can be put into a modern form of slavery. Okay, there's a high science dealing with the term black, but the original term is Moor, Moorish, or even prior is Asiatic. Asiatic. The planet's name was Asia. The planet. Prior to all of the continents being broken up, okay, and scattered, the Pangea and all that, where the water rose and then the pieces of the actual supercontinent broke up and broke apart, the planet was called Asia. Okay, when you hear black.
Right, don't forget. They know what's up. And they didn't find that out yesterday because they made the video, 2 years ago. They've been known. That's why we told you always have to go back to the foundation and stuff. That's how long they knew what's up. They didn't just find out what's up yesterday. Been known what's up. Why are you lying to the people? Because they're part of the crusade against the Moors. How is this guy in the picture with the Moors at the convention, but then saying he's Temple of Islam? Jacked everything. Oh yeah. Let's see this one too. All right, check this one.
This is from Elijah Muhammad. This is the 14-karat yellow gold diamond, jewel encrusted, and it is the crescent symbol of the Nation of Islam. This is a ring that he wore, and very impressive. It is lot 243. Let's get started. 34,000, bid 42, now 4,400, now 4,400. Anyone now 4,400? Again, Elijah Muhammad now at 4,200 for his ring. Anyone now? Again, anyone out at $4,400? 44 I need. I'm at 42. Who's advancing to 44? Anyone beyond 4,200? Anyone beyond 42? Anyone? This is a beautiful ring all by itself. Never mind the celebrity owner. Anyone out at 4,200? Now 44. Now 4,400. Anybody there at 4,400? I'm at 42. Deserves more money. Deserves more. I'm at 4,200 now to advance to 44. Anyone? All right. We'll get it for 4,200. Now. You know what? I had trouble. Is this Kofia? Kofia. Ladies and gentlemen, this is pretty impressive, and it comes with the photo. Does it come with the photo as well of him, or that's just part of the description? Elijah Muhammad, black velvet and jeweled Kofia, the hat essentially. This is
no. Now think about where this is going, where this went after Noble Drawley transition. The Moor Science Temple of America had a headquarters in Chicago called Temple Number 1. These people calling themselves Temple Number 2. Now, how much more of a connection does there have to be? Remember, they're a nation. What they got temples for? They're supposed to be a nation. They're a nation of Islam. What's temples have to do with a nation? Or they're just playing club games with you? Because they already know that they jack the energy. They only jack the energy. Nur Majid, they jacked about 120,000 members. 1930. Why? Because all they did was change the sign and said, this is how stuff is going to run now. There's no prophet here to tell us we can't do what we're doing right now. To the point of them going directly against everything.
Again, messenger of Allah in red and bearing the Temple 2 label. Again, one of the most luxurious copias he had.
King Elijah Muhammad? I know you never heard that one before. King Elijah Muhammad. When you're talking big like that, you must be a nation. You're talking big like that.
This iconic items decorated with platinum, gold, diamonds, gems of all kinds, pearls. So very cool here. Let me read this. The provenance from this, because again, this is where the provenance is very, very cool. From Elijah Muhammad to his eldest son, Emmanuel. Then from Emmanuel to his daughter, Fatima. Emmanuel and Fatima put the kofia in the ring, which we just sold, presumably, in a safety deposit box at Guarantee Bank and Trust Company. In 1973, it's on the south side of Chicago, and those items remain in the safe until today. So, ladies and gentlemen, lot 244, what do we have? $26,000. Now $28,000. Now 28. 26 now, 28,000. What do you think of 28? 26 bid $28,000. Anyone out 28? I'm at $26,000. Come on, 28,000. Where are you? 28,000. What do you think of 28? 26 is the number. Someone show me 28 grand. Who's at 28,000? What do you say, ladies? Anybody out there? Heritage Live, go 28,000. I'm at 26. Not enough. Let's go $28,000. Let's go 28. I'm at 26,000. Anyone out to move along at 28,000? 26 it is. Anybody else then beyond $26,000?
26 grand. Again, this idea of Scientology using these Negroes. Because it's really about tying to the Moors with everything. Why would Scientology want to tie to these people? Alfred E. Johnson, Dr. Hanna, and World Literacy Crusade and all that. Because it's in their foundation. This is Peter Moon, Montauk Book of the Dead, page 415. Any visible threads of the original Moorish Empire had been virtually extinguished or gone underground by the time Noble Drew Ali, then known as Timothy Drew, was born into this world. His fabled initiation in Egypt occurred just about the time L. Ron Hubbard was born. Until I actually composed this book, I would not have been predisposed to connect the character Drew Ali with either L. Ron Hubbard or the research he conducted on the subject of freedom and oppression. In view of my own experiences with relation to this book, however, the quantum juxtaposition of these two characters stands out like fireworks. Hubbard's work was primarily about the imprisonment and freedom of the spirit. Although Ali and Hubbard might not appear connected at first glance, there is quite a rhyme and rhythm between the two. On the surface, Ali's work might be misinterpreted to appeal primarily to displaced people and cultural heritage. As my friend Hamza Bey has taught me, the more you learn about the etymology of the word Moor, the more you realize that it is a spiritual identity that ultimately has very little to do with racial or cultural identity. The original Moors made no distinction along racial lines. This was actually an invented distinction to sow seeds of discourse among people and to facilitate the disruption of what might be termed your own infinite spiritual potential. The de-oppression work done by L. Ron Hubbard was the first time he ever initiated techniques that literally began to reach out and restructure the environment on a wholesale basis. It began with the Sea Org itself and then the Scientology community, but it was spreading with the wild abandonment of a forest fire before the fire department came to put it out. As I said, the seeds of this de-oppression technology were said to be based upon the most fundamental purpose of life itself. We are talking about a principle that can literally raise the dead. This is the same stuff which we can rearrange matter and change the entire universe. Of course, in de-oppression, we are primarily talking about reviving the spirit, the corp of a group of people and taking the yoke off their operation. This is, however, a closely related cousin of the fundamental ability to raise the dead. The problem, as LRH stated, was that once people are free, they demand more and more freedom. Anyone standing in the way of that freedom becomes fair game to the people who are demanding the freedom. How Noble Drew Ali fits into this equation at first glance might not be as exotic as what I have just said. As the story develops, however, it might be viewed as more exotic. In the end, however, they are both part and parcel of the same principle, declaring your lost heritage as a free and infinite being. But opposed to riding with that, what Noble Drew Ali brought for the liberation of the people, they decided to go with the crusade. Where did the crusade get them? Suspended in Cali, defunct, and non-existent. Because King Alfred Plant told you that all these black leaders who take up some ambassador post of some whatever, they're going to be the first ones to get it. Because this beast is not playing with them if they're not playing with us. They might think they got away with something. Now again, you have founder from the perspective of push the black. But then they got brothers from the East that's working with them to help them do the things that, again, are part of the crusade. And if it's happening in America, it's directly against the birthright of the Moors. Directly. The fact that you have been able to read what I have just written is only by the thinnest of threads, most of which you have already read about in this book. Only very few Sea Org members and virtually no Scientologists even know about this de-oppression principle, let alone practice it. There is also a contingent of people who left the church who knew about this, but are not in any position for various reasons to publish anything on it. Quite amazingly, it has not shown up on any internet posting boards or Scientology histories. On the other hand, you can make an extensive study of the French Revolution and pretty much come up with the same principles. That is what LRH did. My putting it forth into your consciousness is just like water leaking through. Water is very powerful. Even in small doses, it can bore a hole through granite. Just as Noble Drew Ali tried to lift the veil of deception from the Moors and their heritage, so did LRH try to lift the veil of the deception from spiritual beings to their true nature. It is therefore not really ironic that by giving a proper and respectful funeral service for LRH, I literally gated the Moor Science Temple into my life. To remind you, when LRH wrote his work on oppression, he stated that the only place left in the world with even a vestigial element of freedom was the United States. This can now be attributed directly to the Moors. None of this would be known if it were not for Drew Ali and the dynamic movement he created, which began to flourish and reach critical mass in 1929. Islam Moore, you have anything to add in?
Islam. I was about to ask you what book you reading out of first, because they going in.
Yeah, Montauk, Book of the Dead, Peter Moon.
Oh, bro, I need to get that.
Yeah, Montauk, Book of the Dead.
Man, he was going in.
Yeah.
And I've actually, I've heard, I heard more, read out of excerpts. Even I heard you read out of Book of the Dead and stuff before, but there's just one I haven't yet to basically acquire.
Yeah,
man,
it's out there. Yeah, Peter Moon. Peter Moon's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's one of those Europeans, like the Rick Smith kind of Europeans.
Yeah. That's the two ones, Rick Smith and Peter Moon. I still haven't been able. All I basically heard was like excerpts from what they were written.
Right.
But yeah, and not only that, dude, it makes sense because Peter Moon spoke on Drew Ali extensively in more than one occasion. It's not just some little piece of the book.
Exactly.
Where, you're talking about. Man. So, man, it's just like, it's crazy. So, all right. So, if he able to understand or even know, the death of the birthright, even just like why Drew Ali say, I came to you more because you needed me the most.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about it. We literally, if we were to do a count or whatever, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but in the Americas, I know you said United States, but he really said the Americas because that crusade, the Inquisition, that's not just going on in what they call 50 states. That's North America, Central, South America, and the adjoining islands. That's why, in the chapter 47, the prophet tells you the geographical location of the Moorish Empire. So, if this is a geographical location of the Moorish Empire, and from time immemorial, the fight has been Christian versus Muslim, or really, Constantine versus Moors, whatever, however you want to call it. Everybody wanna, they got like keywords and stuff, but we know what it is. The age-old fight between, peace and destruction. Really, if we want to be real, peace and democracy, peace and mobocracy.
Mm-hmm.
So if he knowing he himself, like I said, it's not every European is not your enemy. Every Moor who look like you, is not your enemy. Now I'm saying we know who the enemies are, but at the same time, he is one of those Europeans who, even through the literature, is known that they love to basically be under the rule of the Moors.
Yeah.
You know, so for Peter Moon to be dropping that heavy like that, like I ain't even heard, because it's loud.
Say that again?
Nah, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But if he's able to go in extensively like that, I haven't even heard people in the Moor Science Temple go in depth like that
like
on
this.
the Prophet.
Go in. Right? Go in.
Real talk. Like and mind you, I have some people works. Like I was downloading and finding, like I had scripted for a while, so I ran across like a lot of what's the guy's name? Well, I mean, man, it's slipping my mind. But what I'm saying is, I have books from Moors who was in the temple. It's not like you know all my books just come off RVD and you know no, I have books where I was like, hold on, how come you're not even? Why is what you're saying is different from even what the Prophet says? Some people in the temple, even their language is totally different from what the Prophet. You've never saw what you're saying in the Prophet's literature. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I hear people go in like that, like how Peter Moon go in, even some stuff you read from Rick Smith, I heard some stuff. I was like, man, like what is it? It's just going back to how you say, you know, if the European is helping me, why not you? Because there's some people who know this thing won't be right until the Moors regain their position. Like even like the Prophet said, reclaim your lost estate. All of these things, everybody, you know, it's more than just a piece of paper. Estate is not just a stretch of land that you want. You know what I'm saying? The estate is really, at the end of the day, everything. Like if even just like with the feds on the Toronto thing, the thing where the feds was on the what was that, a bus stop or something like that?
Yeah.
That's
poster. Yeah, poster.
Even them putting that at the top is you. Oh, the Moors, they coming into their own. They reclaiming their estate. You know, they could have put one of them, you know, Sasquatch hats up there or stuff like that. You know, but they know. No matter how much you heard Buckethead and all of this stuff, and I never wear that. For some reason, these people see that as the highest, like the highest of the high.
Yeah.
So, man, it's just, really Peter Moon got my head whirling right now because it's like, dang, I haven't heard the black liberators talk like that.
Yeah.
Every person, even like I got the book with the book is The Rise and Fall of Elijah Muhammad, but even when they speak on the Prophet, it's not in that light that Peter Moon shed.
Right. Yeah.
For some reason, you got to slander the Prophet to get over on pushing what you pushing,
whatever you're pushing. Yeah.
You know, the messenger and all of this.
Yeah.
Even what they said in the video, they called him a celebrity. What?
Yeah.
Are you a celebrity? This is not no, you know, Hollywood
contest,
flashing lights type of thing, man.
Yeah. Straight up.
But I hear the flow, man. I just want to put that on the record.
No, just throw this in. I can't remember where the hell this thing is. Oh yeah. So this is notes on Scientology's construction of Islam. Scientology and the Nation of Islam. Scientology is also associated with Islam in the context of the adoption of Dianetics by the Nation of Islam, a religious black nationalist group adhering to Islam and founded in Detroit in 1930 by Wallace Fard Muhammad. born 1893, disappeared 1934. He was presented and perceived inter alia as the Islamic Mahdi or Prophet, or even Allah. Right? So this is why it's so easy for them to just do whatever. Because certain people might not talk like that, but people know that they were pushing Wallace Fard Muhammad as Prophet Fard. Right? And Elijah Muhammad was, quote unquote, the messenger or the forerunner of Fard. But again, you go to Dr. Alim's page or whatever, right? They're telling you right there, there he is in the picture. Now, you can go up a little further. Remember the Muslim Journal? Where they pretended that Noble Drew Ali and Morris scientists are the forerunners to them. And all of them come out of our stuff. Now when we go up here,
I got a question. How come everybody knew the day he disappeared? Nobody cared about finding where the master is?
right?
Like it's not just like when you hear about Noble Drew Ali, right? You know that we know they murdered him, but they would say he died at this year, in this year.
Mm.
How come Noble Drew Ali didn't disappear? He could have came and just been mysterious, I brought the Moors back. All you have is literature, everything, and then how come Noble Drew Ali's story is more concrete than anybody else's story?
Yeah.
Like, even coming down to people who worship Islam and all of this stuff, they don't even have a picture of the Prophet.
Yeah.
But they do all the stuff that they do in the name of this Prophet, right? For Muhammad disappeared. Nobody even question. If my son disappeared, you think I'm gonna just be like, my son was born. My son was born on this day and then he disappeared and stuff. Like, that don't make sense. You know what I mean? It's like, how come why is everybody holding on to something that at the end of the day you still can poke a hole in it? And we didn't have people come trying to poke a hole in what Drew Ali bought, and where are they now?
Mm-hmm.
But
where are they now?
Everybody else, even just like, the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed, right? There's no picture. Nobody's ever saw them.
Yeah.
Then they use, everybody got their certain who they say is in the image or whatever, but we know for sure that's not Yeshua.
Right.
You can say it was a rapper, you can say it was Caesar Borgia or whatever, but we know for sure that wasn't Yeshua.
Yeah.
Everybody else's story is it lacks the foundation to make it concrete.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that actually have foundation, I'm talking about from the man, and mind you, Noble Drew Ali didn't make Moors, but Noble Drew Ali reminded Moors, brought the Moors back into the constitutional fold of government at a time when no one else had interest in that.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they did have interest in it, it wasn't from the right perspective.
Going back to what Peter Moon was talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I hear the flow.
Islam one. So back to Peter Moon. The recognition and uncovering of oppression of the Moors is part and parcel of delivering the best promises of what Scientology, in its most exalted aspects, had to offer. The recognition and uncovering of oppression of the Moors is part and parcel of delivering the best promises of what Scientology, in its most exalted aspects, had to offer. Learning and understanding Hubbard's information on suppression and oppression, coupled with his unique viewpoints and other applications, enabled me to perceive and penetrate the unique mysteries of Montauk Point. The growth resulting from these experiences led me to write Synchronicity and the Seventh Seal, which ultimately explains the greatest mystery underlying Western esotericism and the secret formula upon which Christianity was based before being badly distorted. This is the real Da Vinci Code, which gave rise to the Italian Renaissance and which was secretly influenced by the Moors. At the current time, the door to Moorish mysteries is opening far and wide. The age of Pisces is at an end, and the Moors are coming to receive their inheritance. Drew Ali instigated this process when he returned to America and released a publication known as the Circle 7 Quran. While Drew Ali did not deliver the concise formula delineated in Synchronicity in the Seventh Seal, he represented the energy and was the energy of such. Drew Ali was very much part of the mythos and reality that enabled me to write that book. What Drew Ali wrote was geared towards a format that would be acceptable by his people at that particular time. It apparently worked very well. When the Moorish science reached its peak in 1929, it was on the heels of one of the greatest but most dangerous discoveries Drew Ali ever made. In 1928, Ali attended a Pan-American conference in Havana, Cuba, where he enjoyed broad recognition from a host of other countries. They were, of course, recognizing his sovereign status as a Moorish national who was representing the ancient empire of Amexem. Keep in mind that other countries had no reason to fear Drew Ali or what he represented. It was at this conference, however, that he received a document which was to change the face of Moorish science forever and would eventually lead to what is known as the Great Schism. That is the name the Moorish community uses to refer to the dispersal of Moorish science into different groups. Right? So all these people have their foundation in what our prophet brought. What our prophet presented. Everybody jacked. Everyone took from him, and instead of carrying on what he said to do, did their own stuff. Now remember, somebody had to know. Somebody in NOI had to know this connection in order for them to so easily embrace Scientology, but fight being more so hard. It had to come from the higher ups. And again, once it's coming from the higher ups, you already know that you're dealing with Scottish Rite and Prince Hall and all them people. Because you see that they had their marked fez. When Drew Ali told these Moors don't mark their fez, and they came from his school. Then they're walking around with marked fezes. And then everybody's good with it. Oh yeah, you know, whatever. Well, they're the Nation of Islam. They can do, no, they're not. They're more a Science Temple. Detroit. Jack the energy. And then started playing games with people's birthright. Going around here getting felony charges. World Literacy Crusade, the Scientology front. All these people jacking. Don't forget, Islam is Isaflah master, jacking everything from Noble Drew Ali. Going out here doing madness with it. Doing madness. Right? Them and their whole family. Little they playing around with your birthright. Remember, certain people were trained by the crusade for literacy. That's why they have the good talking stuff and they pronounce every letter of their words and stuff like that. And they caught it. Because they're part of the crusade against their own birthright. Because they didn't have to go Scientology, NOI. You could have just took your sign down and put the real sign back up. And still found Allah and man and all that stuff that you're getting out of Scientology.
Yeah.
Islam more.
That's what it all come from, though, right? Think about it. All these factions and all of that. At the end of the day, it's all talking about this. It's all more science. It just have a cloak on it. Talking about manifestation is more science. Talk about meditation is more science. Talking about activation of the chakras. We could go on and on. Every lesson that's in whatever book that you end up, whatever faction you're a part of, in the book that your faction give out, is still an offshoot of more science. Mm-hmm. But we can use the word more or Moorish because that's possessive. Like, even if you start to call the people Moors, right? They won't be a possession no more. They will possess the true identity, but they are no longer, because even with the video where you say that black is a term for property and all of that, right? Yeah. So you have everybody calling black, right? That means you just speaking about being property. But once everybody starts, man, it's Moors, you try to tell me, or what do you feel about the Moorish community and all of this type of conversation? Now it's people who possessing their identity. You know what I mean? They actually, okay, there's no more black on black crime. You'll never even hear that no more. Imagine being on the radio and you be like, it's a whole lot of more on more crime. But it's been so long that it don't even sound right coming out of it. Even just like I just said. Yeah. Because all you know is black on black and white on white and black on white and all that. Yeah. You'll never hear a radio station say, it's Moors and more Europeans in jail.
Yeah.
But once we, like, as far as us, because, like, we can't even expect anybody else to go ahead and restore the natural order or the way of things if we are the ones who set it all up.
Exactly.
That's why you can't get a salvation from the book of Scientology or whatever, like, because even all of that's allegory, we know that. But once you stumble upon more science on top of whatever book you say you come from or whatever, that's why the prophet said don't throw away your Bible. Because he ain't giving you the more science.
That's true.
But there's no way you about to come into salvation if all you got is a Bible. That's not happening. KJV is not bringing you there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all don't even do Bible study. True Bible study. Not just reading from the thing with a bunch of people in the circle and all that. Talking about the real Bible study.
Mm-hmm.
People supposed to be meditating and activating all of those, the true Gnostic, the Gnostic, what is it? Gnosticism? I think that's the word. Or the true gnosis of what you reading, what you holding, and all of that. Until that happens, nothing's going to happen. That's why everybody be like, oh, I want a business. The Lord's going to have to make a way and all of that. No, he's not going to make a way. You got to make your way, because that's when you go back to navigating your life or your path, whatever you want. That's like nobody put a boat in the water and be like, Allah gonna get us there. That's not happening.
You sure?
They were looking at the stars. They were looking at the stars like, yeah, all right, I see where we need to go. Or they look at the stars like, hey, we need to slow down because it's about to be a storm or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's just looking at the water. Hey, this water look like it's about to come into, like, it's just knowledge, not no belief system. Belief, we know that's the child degree. But once you go out here, just like right now, I can't believe that I know how to, connect with my people. I have to know how to connect with these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a Moor, because everybody, I was actually doing I was just doing the event last Sunday, and there was some Nation of Islam dudes in there. Basically they was the security, and it's crazy because when I walked in there, I saw the suits. I just saw the demeanor. I saw how they looked, the character. I was like, y'all dudes look like y'all a Nation of Islam. And the girl, she laughed. She was like, man, why did I just say that too? And then come to find out, they was Nation of Islam. They had the Nipsey newspapers. They were selling them, trying to exploit them more. They selling the Nipsey newspapers and all of that. So I was like, dang, it's crazy because it's just like, if I could see them, I know they Nation of Islam, then they could know, oh, that's a Moor. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The real people who know, not just anybody, because I could have a bow tie on and somebody may mistake me for even just like even having a fist. People like, people like,
you a Mason?
Oh, you a Muslim?
You a Mason?
Yeah, oh bro, amazing. That killed me right there. Oh, you a Mason? I had a blue lodge Mason come up to me like, yeah, man, I know you're not one of us because ain't no way you could have your feds on outside. I was like, what? Y'all can't even. Like, what? Y'all can't even. He like, yeah, man, no, indeed. Like, coming outside with a feds, that is like restricted. Like, that's, you only wear that in there. That's what he told me, man. And that dude wanted to build me. I know it's more than 300. What did he say? I know it's more than 33 degrees of knowledge and all of this. That's what he telling me. Like, so tell me more and all that. I gave that more. I showed that more. Abdullah Talib, the Masonic Gate. I gave that more Masonic Gate newspaper, and this dude lost his shit. Like,
you never heard from him since.
he was like, and he was like, man, I knew it was something more to the three, you know, because you tell you about the 357, the Bear, Orion, and Pallades and all that. I knew it was more to it, man, but they won't tell me nothing in there and all that. I'm like, man, come on, bro. But we, you know, there's no monopoly on it. Yeah. Like all of this, that's why I say, in your lodge or whatever, you thinking, man, they giving us, we should be thankful for the knowledge they giving us. When I have that stuff, I learned that stuff coming in about all of the Masonic squares and all this stuff mean. Because, like I said, Abdullah was the first Moor who I ran into. Abdullah first. I didn't run into Taj. So I had already had like what the Bible really was talking about, you know, because Abdullah be breaking it down. So the stuff that they still waiting on to be handed down to them,
you got already.
You know, I already had it.
Yeah.
Even just like, and it make me even. The prophet said, "Don't mark your fears and show you free," right? But Elijah Muhammad said, "The real lessons will be handed down to you." That's some large shit.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely large. That's definitely.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
But I hear the flow. I hear the flow.
Islam. So watch these people out here.
Trying to spoon feed you knowledge and stuff.
Yeah, watch them good. Watch them good. Because it's all a game. It's all a game.
Yeah, watch the fast talkers.
Yeah.
The fast talkers who never really tell you anything. Even just like I had to call you. Like, man, listen to this auction. I say that must be what Rita Islam get his stuff like. You know, he always talking fast. I was like, I'm like, man. He done watched the auction tape of Elijah Muhammad reading and was like, that's how I'm gonna bring it to him.
I'm gonna bring it like that.
Oh man.
I'm gonna bring it like that. That was my thing. There was one. Judicial notice and proclamation papers. Make sure that you read those papers. All you new Moors out there, you want to get your witnesses and you want to get your papers back and you want to send to 7 locations, and before you do all that, do 100 reads of that paper. Do at least 100 reads of that paper. Over and over and over and over and over again. Keep reading it over and over and over and over and over again. Not for memory. Not to memorize it or anything. But the language is that is where you're transitioning to from where you're at. And like we say with the studying, once you're studying, you're gonna be led, but you have to be open to, you know what I mean, be taught. You're not gonna be led if you have a closed mind. You're not gonna be led if you think that you know something and all that stuff because you know some guru guys. You know some Moors who got the gold certificate of the whatever. So Scientology told you that this is about man reaching deific life. Drew Ali told you. Bible told you. Quran told you. Vedas told you. Any holy scripture, any esoteric, metaphysical, whatever is going to tell you. So we don't need these middle people. Eliminate the middle people. Save yourself. You do not need to deal with these middle people. Go ahead, Moore.
Nah, I was just agreeing with you, more. That's
Right.
It's like didn't they say when I think Yeshua was 12. Matter of fact, even in the Quran, they have the chapter where Mary they couldn't find Yeshua or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they ended up, when they caught up with him, you know, he was going at it with the people in the temple and all that.
Yeah. Debating with the doctors of law.
That's what he was. That's the same thing. That was the middleman. He was going at the middleman.
Yeah.
Why y'all lying to these people?
Letting these middlemen know where to go.
And you know they had him hot because he flipped the table. they think with these Canaanland Moors classes and correcting the foolishness, they think that's some anger or yeah, she was flipping the tables on us. 12 years old.
Straight up.
You playing games with these people?
Straight up.
And it's even more, because you think about it, the younger you are, that's like you more I don't say obligated, but you lean towards just truthfulness. You know what I mean? Like the young, they tell the truth.
Yeah.
Like even if I'm talking and whatever to my empress, I see something, and we go around whoever. I'm like, yeah, my daddy told me that you was, or my daddy said you was. I'm like, boy, this never happened, but I'm saying I saw it happen. Like I didn't heard somebody talk a little weird about me, but I ain't find out from the grown person. Right. I found out from the baby.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, we'll put that one out there. We'll put that one out there though. Chapter 5. We'll put a little something out there in honor of debating the middlemen. After the feast, the homeward journey, the missing Jesus, the search for him, his parents find him in the temple. He goes with them to Nazareth, symbolic meaning of carpenter's tools. The great feast of the Pasch was ended, and the Nazarenes were journeying toward their homes. And they were in Samaria, and Mary said, "Where is my son?" No one had seen the boy. And Joseph sought among their kindred who were on their way to Galilee, but they had not seen him. They had seen him not. Then Joseph, Mary, and son of Zebedee returned and sought through all Jerusalem, but they could not find him, or they could find him not. And Mary asked the guards, had they seen Jesus, a little boy about 12 years old? The guards replied, yes, he is in the temple now, disputing with the doctors of the law. And they went in and found him as the guards had said. And Mary said, why, Jesus, why do you treat your parents thus? Lo, we have sought 2 days for you. We feared that some great harm had overtaken you. And Jesus said, do you not know that I must be about my Father's work? But he went around and pressed the hand of every doctor of the law and said, I trust that we meet again. Well, debating with the doctors of law. Why not? Why not debate?
So that means we should really be watching these people talk about, I have a doctorate in it, and I know what I'm talking about. I got a PhD or whatever.
Yep.
I'm an attorney. I'm a bar member and all of that.
Yep. All the time. I'm a grand sheik. I'm a grand governor. All of that. All of that.
I'm a pastor.
His priesthood is dead. Priesthood is dead. Right? Like I said, you know, the priests are for graves and funeral chants. Not like they don't have a duty. They're not useless. But for you to talk to Allah, you don't need no middleman. You don't need not one intermediary. Just you and silence. You and silence, and you'll talk to Allah. Guaranteed.
Man, that's crazy though, cause man, I'm gonna have to open up the I'm gonna have to go. It might not be right now, but I'm gonna end up sending you this up. But it's literally, I don't know. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's in the book of Matthew, and that's the same thing they talking about. It's saying that, just paraphrasing that, if you basically, if you're trying to reach the Lord, and you don't do it through going to a building, you don't do it through being with others. Basically, they were saying you got to be by yourself. That's the only way you about to get that communication and all that.
Islam.
You got to be, and I think another. Man, I'm gonna have to find the scripture exactly and send it to you. But I'm just paraphrasing where it said like you won't get to me through these other venues. So like for people who only go to the building, for people who hold hands and let's pray. Like that's not how you get there.
Whatever external thing you're going to, that ain't it.
Yeah.
That's not gonna lead you there. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter.
You gotta be in silence.
Yeah. Silence is the only way that you're gonna be able to hear.
I'm like, damn, but you think about it, I was like, man, that sounds it sure sounds a whole lot like meditation though. Because if anybody meditated, like you can't even, like, everything gotta be quiet. Like it have been times where I was, even tell my emperor, like, you can meditate with me, but if you're gonna basically, like, if I can hear stuff and all that, it's gonna throw me off. You know what I mean? It has to be, the silence has to be respected, because even once you get in the complete silence, you still have to fish through all of that noise that's in your mind.
Right. And that's the only noise you should really be trying to deal with. If you got some other stuff going on, like
but this crazy part though, it sounds crazy, but people need to understand that it's a whole lot of noise in your mind.
Yeah.
Like I give you your props once you start to, like if this how we really going about the thing. Like I ain't gonna lie, it's not an easy thing even for me, because it's like I don't even know, like 15, 20 minutes sometimes it takes me, because there's so much stuff, bro. You would never even know how much noise is actually going through your brain until you sit down and be quiet. It sounds weird, but it's the dead honest truth. Like, yeah, I'm good, baby. That's it. All right, thanks. But yeah, man, and that's the honest truth. Like, once you fish through that noise, then you can start thinking to yourself, what is it that I want? What am I asking for? What is it that I want done? Show me a way to handle certain situations, because that's going back to, like the Bible says, on earth as it is in heaven, because heaven is the mindset. When you go up to your heaven, that's where the whole speaking into existence stuff happens. Like on earth as it is in heaven. I mean, from your mind, like they say, man is mind. Now I've been tied into probably 4 or 5 books just now, just with a few sentences. Even Go read James Allen as a Man Thinking. Like even that, I said, when I read that book, I was like, that dude been studying the prophet. It was too similar. Because even in the book, I think he started talking about reclaiming something that you lost or something like that. I was like, hold on, man. This dude got a Quran. I know he got a Quran. But, yeah, man.
Islam. Islam. Where we at? 850. Oh, we can take a quick excerpt out of this one. We can take an excerpt out of this one. Confucius aphorisms on government. A gentleman should be ashamed if his deeds do not live up to his words. A gentleman does not approve a person for expressing a certain opinion, nor does he reject an opinion for being expressed by a certain person. A sovereign must treat his minister with courtesy. A minister must serve his sovereign with loyalty. A great minister is a minister who serves his Lord by following the way and who resigns when both are irreconcilable. A gentleman first gains the trust of his people, and then he can mobilize it. Without that trust, it can feel used. First, he gains the trust of his prince, and then he can criticize him. Without this trust, the prince may feel that he is being slandered. Do not meddle in the conduct of any office other than your own. Do not try to speed things up. Ignore the small advantages. If you speed things up, you will not reach your goal. If you pursue small advantages, large enterprises will not bear fruit. Don't worry if you don't occupy an official position. Rather worry if you don't deserve it. Don't worry about being famous, but rather about not having the merit to be famous. Even with a wise king, it would take a whole generation for humanity to prevail. That's crazy. Even with a wise king, it would take a whole generation for humanity to prevail. Examples of goodness penetrate the hearts of men more deeply than good words. It is easier to obtain the affection of the people by rightly acting and rightly advising them than by effective administration and just laws. Guide to officials. Forgive their mistakes. Promotes talented men. Promote those you know well. Those you don't know will hardly be ignored. Dumped all the 720 Moors on that one. He who holds a public office and cannot fulfill his duties must resign. That's for all you grand sheik, grand governor, whoever's out there, haven't done your job for 80 years. He who controls himself and for good will have no difficulty in governing effectively. He who does not know how to govern himself will find it impossible to order the conduct of other men. Hold on.
Read that one more time right there.
He who controls himself and for good will have no difficulty in governing effectively. He who does not know how to govern himself will find it impossible to order the conduct of other men.
Bro, that speaks so many volumes.
The more I just picked this one up. Confucius, Ethics and Government.
Oh man, you just talk about that.
Yeah, Calixto Lopez just dropped, just reached today, and it was only from the last Confucius stuff from when we did class on the last Confucius. I was like, yo, let me get some of his stuff because
Confucius go in. I ain't gonna
yo, Confucius goes to a different place, yo. It's crazy.
Bro, for a second, I thought you was reading holy instructions from the prophet. I was like, man, this is dang.
I never heard them ones before.
That's why you say we honor all, we honor all divine prophets, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Islam to that one.
If a king does not govern with righteousness, that is to say, if he does not fill his people with benefits, it is because he does not want to and not because he cannot. If a sovereign could employ me, in 1 year he would make things work, and in 3 years the results would be seen. It's hard to find a man who can study for 3 years without thinking about getting a job. It is possible to get the people to follow the good man, but they can never be forced to understand him. It is possible to serve a prince in the company of a scoundrel. Before reaching his position, his only fear is that of not being able to reach it. And once he obtains it, his only fear is that of losing it. And when he fears losing it, he becomes capable of everything. The nobleman who seek to found a dynasty does not aspire to be elevated to imperial dignity, but merely prepares the way for his descendants. If the will of heaven is propitious to him, he will be elevated himself to supreme dignity. Islam. We can close out on that one.
Yeah, Islam to that.
Islam to that. Peace and love to all Moors worldwide. Peace and love to all Moors. Don't forget, MHHS, Eyes Wide Open. 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. 319-527-6751. 319-527-6751 and 425-569-5201. 425-569-5201. blogtalkradio.com/MHHS-Eyes Wide Open. 9:30. Peace, more. You have any closing comments?
Man, Islam to the Moors. She stay focused, stay studying. Let's get to work. There's always work to be done. That's really it. I guess maybe Grand Sheik for the platform and the opportunity. Islam to the Prophet. for telling us something we didn't know. Nobody else told us. So, I'm forever grateful.
Straight up, more. Islam. Don't forget, May 5th, 2019, 11 to 2. 5 Principles Cuisines doing their all-you-can-eat brunch. It's going to be over at Fusion Lounge, 880 Ellesmere Road. RSVP 416-357-4345. 416-357-4345. Adults 20 notes, teens 10 notes, children free. Don't forget, #1 vegan catering company, 5 Principles Cuisines. And as a little special, we'll be actually running class that day from there. So if you got any questions, you got any stuff you've been dealing with or whatever, you want to build on it, Q&A with the Moors at the All You Can Eat Brunch. And this Saturday, we got our second annual Cleanliness is Next to Godliness, Clean Toronto Together spring cleanup. So we're going to be doing the usual Gabian Way, Tequila Street. And that's this Saturday, the 27th. We're meeting at the temple for 11 a.m. And if you know any youth that need hours, just send them down and we'll definitely let them leave with hours letter for their volunteer work. That's going to be this Saturday, 11 a.m. We're meeting at the temple for 11. Let's try to be tardy, be on time, so that we can get some work done. And of course, we're gonna have a little something after, a little nourishment, and it's gonna be presented by 5 Principles Catering. So, we take care of you. $5 for a container, and you'll definitely get something worth your while. So make sure you bring your $5 so you can get something to eat after the cleanup this Saturday. And again, Islam to all Moors. Peace and love to all. And to all a good night. Islam.